It's nice. It's nice on this side. It's nice on this
Jesus,
side.
how come you're so tall?
Oh,
Jesus.
I'm a tall fella. All right, you ready? Ah!
All right.
Do your introduction. You gotta do the introduction.
Okay. Hey, thanks for joining us again. I'm here today to do an interview with myself.
Well, we thought since Peter was the host for all of the other interviews that it would be nice to talk to Peter, because Peter is a legitimate photographer. He's a legitimate artist, and we're sitting in Peter's booth right now. And Peter, you know, for those that don't know, like you're a good friend of mine. I get regular abuse from you, which means that you love me.
Daily abuse.
Daily. So we're sitting here at the Festival of the Arts in your booth on the day before the last day, right? So you've been here, what is it, 7 weeks, 6 weeks?
8 weeks.
8 weeks.
Long weeks.
8 wonderful weeks where you've got to meet some new artists and meet some new friends. And
yes.
So tell me a little bit about the festival, just real quick. Like what is it, and what is your experience here?
Okay. The best part is when you get accepted, because you feel excited and you feel happy that you got in. You have to be juried in, and there's a big long process. There's at least 300-400 people that want to get in that don't get in. It is a huge commitment to turn up every day for the 8 weeks. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it starts at 10 in the morning. Every other day it starts at 4 in the afternoon. And it is a lot of fun, actually. I'm just tired and grumpy because I'm at the end. You meet a lot of fantastic artists, as you've seen from our podcast that we've done. We get about 220,000 people coming through. And, you know, it's just fun to actually talk to other people about the artwork, how it was created, where it was taken, and I've got that wrapped down really well now, like one of those, you know, those parrots where you push the button and they start squawking and talking and whatever. So the thing I've learned is it's very difficult to make money as an artist. You have to do it because you love doing it. Don't do it because you think you can make money, but it doesn't hurt to try and make money. So, but it's not easy. It's not easy.
So that sort of was going to lead into my question. Like, as a lot of photographers, like one of the things that a lot of people think is like, oh, you know, I've created this work. I want to start to sell my work. Whether you become like a professional like me, which is I do weddings and portraits, but in the fine art area, right, like where you are, this is kind of the pinnacle for a lot of photographers, is to be in a place, have a booth, a high-end art festival, to be able to display and sell your art. What advice would you offer, you know, a new artist or a photographer that's looking at where you're at, going, oh my gosh, like Peter's where I want to be, right? What advice could you offer them? Sincere advice, right? Like,
I'm trying very hard, looking in my brain, feeble brain, for sincere advice. No, just do what you love, show what you like, and the photography or artwork that you've created. Because it's really difficult to predict what the trends for the public are. Last year, I had no problem selling all pieces of artwork. This year, it's really slow. Certain pieces of artwork are selling very well at the festival, and others are not. And it depends on what the economy is doing. It depends on what, you know, our political leaders are saying, what the stock market's doing. You know, the war with, you know, Ukraine and Russia and North Korea influences people's buying decisions. So my suggestion is just keep doing what you love, and then enter, if you can, into the Festival of Arts and see if you can get admitted in, and then just try it out and then see how it goes. And then if you need to adjust your artwork, then that's fine. But there's nothing more satisfying than having people that come up, look at your artwork and say, that's the best picture I've ever seen, I love it. You know, my monk with the candles, you know, speaks to me, and people get very emotional. I've had 2 people in this particular year stand in front of that photo and start crying. And I mean, it's you know, a dramatic emotion, and then you go, wow, that was worth putting that photo up because people can connect with it. So is it worthwhile? Yes, it is, and you just got to keep doing it and be committed.
Okay, that was a good answer. Not what we rehearsed, but it was pretty good.
Or
Like,
get
it was
committed afterwards.
nearly everything that all the bullet points that we had
Yes.
hit. No, because that's the real challenge, right? So for an artist, like, how do you take that criticism? One of the things that you did in your other interviews, if you guys haven't seen those, check those out. But you've asked the other artists, like, how do you deal with criticism? How do you deal with somebody who looks at an image that you've spent so much time, effort, and money, emotionally it's an important image to you, and they don't like it, and that creative process can be really crushing for somebody. So you've asked other artists
Yes.
that. How would you answer that?
Okay. At first, I took it very painfully because it almost reflected like a criticism on my taste and my ability and my artwork. And then I realized that everybody's got different taste. So now I try to keep an open mind and ask people, what is it about it that they don't like? And what is it that they do like? And this year I've had way more positive feedback than the last 3 years. But you know, you have to take into account, you know, 3 weeks ago a guy comes up and he looks at my artwork and he asked what kind of iPhone I used to take the artwork. And I thought about it for a second or two, and I told him that I use a iPhone 20X. And he looked at me and I said, yes, it's a new prototype from Apple because I do consultancy work for Apple, and it's got 8 cameras on the back, and it is really, really fantastic. And kind of a funny reaction. And he said, oh, that's good to hear because I'll keep my eye out for that. And then he walked away.
So wait. For those people that don't know Peter, like half of that could be total BS, but I'm pretty sure the other half of that is real. So we're not quite sure,
Completely
but I'm
true.
sure. I'm laughing not because of what a wonderful story you just came up with. I'm laughing because I can see Peter doing that, and I know that those are real questions, right? Those are real questions.
And if I can find up the video surveillance for the show, I'll add this. If you see this at the end, then it's in. If it's not, I didn't have it.
Oh my gosh.
No, but all the artists here, they all get, you know, some very strange questions. Like my booth partner here, Maria, who we did an interview with.
The scratch artist.
Scratch artist.
The scratch artistry, yeah.
99% of what she has displayed are animals. And somebody came up last week and said, do you do any animal pictures? And I looked at her and she looked at me and what do you say? But dealing with the general public, you have to take into account that there's a huge variety from somebody that understands and appreciates complicated, difficult artwork and photography to somebody that just uses an iPhone.
Well, you know, and also, you know, you did an interview that you and I did with Brad Toms talking about like travel photography, and a lot of people don't understand the amount of effort that goes into your work. Some of the other artists, like Maria over here, and then Kira, and I was trying to think of all the other artists that we interviewed.
Yeah,
the painters,
I mean,
they don't understand
thousands of hours of work. I mean, if you take into consideration the monk pictures or the tree pictures, you know, and as you saw in the interview when I went with Brad into Indonesia, into Burma, I mean, you're talking thousands of hours in planning a trip, a lot of money to get there, and you don't know if you're going to get good quality imagery. You're hoping, and you've covered all the bases.
But you don't
and
know.
Some trips I've come back from, and you look at the work and you go, it's all crap. I mean, it's unusable for whatever reason. You know, the weather was bad. You know, the donkeys weren't good. The camels were bad. I mean, the monks weren't cooperating.
Let's talk about your monk image right here a little bit. Tell us a little bit about this image, and what I want to kind of tap into is, you know, as Peter's friend, him and I sometimes will sit down in front of his computer and we'll go through images, and every single image that Peter looks at, there's a story. and because you're really a storyteller, less photographer, right? Like you're there capturing stories. So so like the monk, because it's so prevalent for you, it's such a popular image for you. Tell me about this image and what it means to you, and maybe a little bit about how it was captured.
Right. That's a great question, and let me just preface by saying I'm working on a book right now, so a novel or a screenplay will be coming out. So stay in touch. It may take a little bit longer because I'm doing a creative writing course at Orange County College. And if that turns out okay, there will be a follow-up. Sorry, what was the question? Oh yeah, the monk. Okay, so the monk with the candles, we were shooting.
Do you need to see the image so you know what we're talking about?
No, I've
You're
seen
okay?
it. That's the last one for sale, so if you want to buy it, step it up, that's it, done. Anyway, it is a 1,200-year-old temple, and the effigies are in there, are all the dead ancestors of the village. And the monks go in there once a month and pray for them and so on. We went in, we saw this young monk, and we put extra candles in because it was so dark. I mean, you couldn't see and all the rest of it. So we put candles in and got a few shots, and then we got kicked out by a guy with a machine gun, and he basically, told us we had to leave and all the rest of it. So I relayed that story to one of our other group about 2 weeks later, and they started laughing, and I asked why are they laughing, and they said if you had paid $100 US, you could have stayed for an hour. So now when we travel, we take at least $500 in $100 bills. When that situation comes up to pay for the fee or the consultation or whatever to get in. But one of the things that's interesting about that shot is people go, wow, his face looks really serious. Well, he was so nervous because he's never had his photo taken and he didn't know what to do, and he's only 15 years old, and he's got this concentrating, and it's a great look. It's a really fantastic look. As soon as the shot was finished, he started laughing and he was really, really happy. But I think what it does is it portrays an image of a culture that's now under fire. The Burmese government, the military has taken the country over again, didn't want people to have any independence and so on. And as they started to have more independence, the military squashed them and started killing, and I mean, it's terrible. I hope in my lifetime, which may be not that long, that Burma, Myanmar can get back to some sort of sense of democracy, because they had 20 years of it, and the food started getting better, the accommodation started getting better, and the people are fantastic. I mean, the people are really just out of this world nice and helpful.
So you've been to a lot of places. Where haven't you been that you would like to go to?
Haven't been Africa, because I always thought that Africa's overdone. Namibia, Tanzania.
Oh, when you say overdone,
too many photographers.
Right.
I mean, it's
like
same as Iceland. Yeah, Iceland. I wanted to go to Iceland, and then all of a sudden, everybody's been to Iceland.
There, yeah.
So Faroe Islands, Greenland, but I haven't done anything really south of Mexico. Costa Rica, Bolivia, Patagonia, Chile, Brazil. Love to go down South America, and I'd love to do.
You tried to do Mongolia with Curtis and Renee.
Yeah,
right?
tried to do Mongolia, but that was last month.
Didn't make that.
But airfares and everything is just a mess right now. So right after the pandemic, there's a 400,000 person shortage in the travel business, and most of those are employees for airlines and accommodation.
Right.
So the airfares now are triple what they used to be. Economy round trip anywhere is the same as what business used to be. So it's a hassle getting to places.
So let me ask you this. So in your home, what do you have that is inspiring to you? Not work you've created, but I know you do collect some art yourself.
Yep.
So who is inspirational to you? Who has inspired you along the way that you've collected art from?
Jerry Olsman.
Right.
Love Jerry Olsman.
I was hoping you'd bring that one up.
I've got quite a lot of his work. We did a book for him 15 years ago. Sadly, he passed away.
So
this
tell
year.
us about Jerry. For those who maybe are younger photographers, might not be familiar with who he is and what his work was like.
Yeah, in the 70s and 80s, he had a dark room with 11 stations around. This is pre, Photoshop, pre big computers. And he would manually go through and make his artwork with a boat and a sunrise and a naked girl laying in a tree. And
he would do composites that were better than a lot of the Photoshop composites we see today, and he did them all in enlarger. So he was inspirational to you.
Yes, he was, because it was fantastic work. I mean, to get the sense of detail and just the stress of going all of those stations all the way around is phenomenally hard.
Right.
And then I signed up and did a 1-week course with him where he showed us every piece of his technique, how he did it, how he got the inspiration to do his photography, where he did his planning and everything else. And one of the questions was, aren't you afraid that you're showing us exactly how to do everything, that we'll start doing it? And he said, absolutely not. You know, his vision is his vision. He said everybody has different visions, and he was happy to show us all his techniques. I tried it for about a month afterwards and then gave up. It was extremely difficult, just with two enlargers in a darkroom.
Yeah.
I could never get the transitionals right, ever.
Yeah, I never got to see him personally or go to his workshops, but I did get to see a lot of his interviews and some of his stuff. And he was always one of these individuals that was very open and sharing. You know, he didn't have this exclusivity culture or this protectivism culture.
Yeah.
And I think that in the photography world today that we need that, right? Like we need to share our techniques and
absolutely.
And do that. And that is something that we have seen here in the festival with the artists you've interviewed that we've spoken with, very open and willing to share from the festival, from the people that you've met here and seeing all the various arts. Is there a technique or something that you want to add to your bag of tricks? Is there something that you looked at and went, wow, I haven't thought about that in a while, or that's a great idea?
Yeah.
That we could share, we could inspire people to maybe go out and try.
Well, one of the things, I've scheduled a trip to Australia next year, and one of the things I definitely want to do is go to the outback and take Star Trails and Milky Way, because my success rate on Milky Way has been quite abysmal. Because most of the time I'm with Troy Miller and he gets much better shots than me. But it's interesting that you say that, because I've got some really good lightning shots taken from Balboa with some phenomenal lightning coming through November last year. And I've spoken to at least several hundred people asking, how did you do that shot, and how fast were your reflexes, and was the camera open, and all the rest of it. And I have answered truthfully to everybody that has asked the question. It's like talking to a magician. A magician will say that trick is really difficult and hard, but he won't tell you how to do it. So photographers, most of the time, will not tell you how to get a great lightning shot. And I have told everybody and given them the contacts. You buy a lightning trigger.
I was going to say, but we're not going to tell you.
No, we tell you.
You have to subscribe to his newsletter.
Yes.
No, we're kidding. We're kidding.
No,
we would never do that.
Get a lightning trigger, do it, and everybody's like, aha moment. Well, I mean, it's $500 to buy, and unless you're serious about lightning, you're not going to buy it.
Right, and it's not just a lightning trigger, it's a lightning trigger by lightning trigger. So there's a lot of lightning triggers.
Yeah.
Not to get too geeky into tech, but the lightning trigger actually works off the infrared pulse that you get before the lightning strike itself. So you're more likely to capture more multiple strikes actually in camera in a single frame, as opposed to compositing multiple strikes.
Correct.
So,
and it hits at like 10,000ths of a second, so it's really quick.
Which is really cool. So.
And the funny thing about it is, once the camera's set up with a lightning trigger, you don't actually have to be there.
You don't.
And I've gone down off the roof, gotten a coffee or a tea and whatever, come back and I've got 8 shots, and I go, oh, that's good. I mean, it works on its own. So that's just one tip. I'm a huge fan of, if anybody asks, I will give them whatever information I have, whatever experience I have, because at the end of the day, my ambition is to share with people. Okay,
Right.
where I get my metal prints done, I share with that and the downfalls and upsides. Where I get my acrylic prints done and downfalls and upsides. What cameras I use, what I like, what system I use. I've been, telling people not to use Lightroom.
I would
use-
never
and
I would
Capture
never
One.
do that. I would only suggest Capture One, but never not. Okay, so before we go any further, and well, actually, you know what? Let's finish with this one question. Well, actually, two questions. So, what is your favorite style of photography?
Favorite style?
Color, black and white. You know where I'm going with this.
I'm not going to answer the grounds. It could incriminate me. So Troy got me, 8-9 years ago. Troy's at my office. He shows me this photo, and it's of Hearst Castle with this magnificent moon. And I'm like, wow, how did you get that? And he's telling me, it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon or whatever. And I'm like, what? That's not possible. So 3 days later of hounding him, he said it's infrared. And I've shot infrared in the past, no success, because in the DSLR days, you couldn't focus.
Right.
It was a nightmare. So he started me on this down rabbit hole journey. I have 2 dedicated cameras to infrared and absolutely love infrared. And we have a bit of a joke going around between all our groups and other people. And Troy's got about 15 people converted now to infrared. So I need to know what's after infrared and go that avenue. But I love the way infrared looks.
Yeah.
And I need to do more. I mean, one of the main reasons that I got it, apart from landscape, is that we did a trip into Burma and we went into the northern Chen tribes. And the women there are very dark skinned and they have tattoos on their faces. And that is to stop the old kings and stuff from coming and taking them and making them sex slaves. So they got their faces tattooed. So it's extremely difficult to take a picture of dark skin and a tattoo because you can't see. So with infrared, the skin goes white and the tattoo goes black. And if Troy's as good an editor as what we think he is, he will add this in probably about now. There'll be a picture or a couple of pictures of the tattooed women. And what I also like is if you take portraits of older people, all the blemishes are gone.
Yeah.
It makes your skin look like baby skin.
Yeah.
Which I think when you get older is a plus.
Is a plus.
Is a plus.
So let's wrap up with telling everybody where they can find more about you, see your artwork, maybe see some of these images.
Yeah, peterlevshin.com. I have an Instagram. I do? I think I do. No,
Peter
I do.
Levshin, yeah, and then Levo Art, right? Is it Levo?
No, Levo Art is gone. It's all now peterlevshin.com. You can email me at peter@icla.com. And
I'll put all this in the description.
obviously pacartists.com.
PACARTIST. S. .com.
Jesus,
I'll put that
I thought I had problems with spelling. Oh my God. Yeah. Troy will put it at the bottom.
Yeah. So
And
hit 'em up.
only email me back or tag me when you've got nice things to say. If there's any complaints, send them to Troy.
That's it. That's it. That's a wrap.
I think it could be.
that's
It's
it.
been a long 8 weeks.
Yep.
And if you want to, I encourage you to do it, especially if you're younger. Definitely do it because the artists here are really cool. There's exceptionally good quality
But
work
not
here.
just here, right? Because you have to live in a certain area to be part of the Laguna Art Festival. But just putting your art out there for the public to
Yeah.
experience, to
Yeah.
see, to
Yeah.
sell, and there's a lot of virtual galleries and things, but that's not the same as being able to put your art in a facility with other artists.
Yeah.
I can't put my art here.
No, 'cause you're out of town.
I don't live in
No.
Orange County. So, but
I think you need to move.
you're encouraging
so
people.
you could be next door to me.
Right, but you're encouraging everybody to put their art out there, kind of like hang out that shingle and take
Yeah.
the risk, and It's worth it. It's
It is
certainly
absolutely.
worth it.
Do
Yeah.
it, do it, do it, do it. And again, the amount of people that have come through, over 200,000 in the 8 weeks, the amount of people that have shown me their artwork on their phones and have asked me to include them on the next trip, on and on, is outstanding. I mean, it's amazing how many photographers are out there that are really good. And you don't know how good you are. And one of the other things that I encourage you to do is join a local affiliate like IEPPV and enter image competitions, because image competitions will help you with your creative work. Absolutely. Right. My work has gone up factor of 10 because of going into image competition.
Right.
Is it stressful? Yeah, it is. Very stressful, especially when a judge says your picture's 79 and you think it's 100.
Okay.
Anyway,
with
that's another
with
subject.
That, let's say goodnight.
Yes. Hey, thanks for listening, and I'll keep you posted on the next. That's Troy's cheap clipboard.
Does that mean we're done?
We're done.
We're done.
Yay.
Good job.
Ah, thank God.
So freaking hot.
It is hot.
It wasn't recording.
It wasn't recording? Oh,
No, I'm kidding.
don't make me do it again.